Hey everyone, welcome back to Wealth Profiles. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of the man who turned literal garbage into a business empire, Wayne Huizenga. From humble beginnings, Huizenga built an empire that spanned waste management, video rentals, and even professional sports teams. So, how did he do it? How did a guy who started with one garbage truck go on to become the only person in history to launch 3 different Fortune 500 companies, making billions of dollars in the process? Stick around, because we're about to break it all down. Wayne Huizenga was born in 1937 in Chicago. He came from a middle-class family and learned the value of hard work early on. His father moved the family to Fort Lauderdale in 1953 to become a builder in a booming real estate market. After dropping out of college and a brief stint in the Army, Wayne returned home to Florida and found himself at a crossroads. With no clear path, Wayne took a leap of faith, purchasing a single garbage truck in 1962. He saw potential in the dirty but necessary business of waste disposal. Huizenga saw an industry ripe for consolidation. At the time, the waste industry was highly fragmented, with thousands of small local haulers operating independently. Huizenga realized there was a huge opportunity to create economies of scale by rolling up these smaller operators into one national company. In 1968, he founded Waste Management, and his strategy was clear from day one. Buy up as many local waste haulers as possible, centralize operations, and streamline costs. Huizenga's growth strategy for waste management was built on one thing: acquisitions. His approach was aggressive and fast. Rather than spending years building new infrastructure, Huizenga took advantage of existing players by buying them out. In just the first decade, he acquired hundreds of small waste companies. The sheer scale of his acquisition spree was unprecedented in the industry. What made Huizenga's strategy brilliant was his ability to create efficiencies through consolidation. By combining smaller operations into one cohesive unit, he cut costs, increased efficiency, and offered better services at competitive prices. Within just a few years, Waste Management had gone from a small regional player to the largest waste disposal company in North America. One of the reasons Huizenga was able to scale waste management so quickly was his focus on standardizing operations across the board. With each acquisition, he brought the new companies into the waste management fold and introduced uniform practices and technologies. From routing trucks more efficiently to negotiating better deals on equipment, Huizenga implemented a corporate structure that made waste management more profitable than its smaller competitors. Centralizing these processes also allowed waste management to offer more services, such as recycling and hazardous waste disposal, at a lower cost, making the company indispensable to municipalities and businesses. Huizenga was ahead of his time when it came to embracing technology. Under his leadership, waste management began using computer systems to manage routes, monitor fuel usage, and improve maintenance scheduling, which significantly boosted operational efficiency. Huizenga's ability to leverage technology to scale operations not only helped lower costs, but also provided better service to customers. He also pushed waste management into new areas like landfill management and recycling, ensuring the company stayed ahead of the curve as environmental regulations began to tighten. By the mid-1970s, waste management had already established itself as a leader in the U.S., but Huizenga had even bigger ambitions. In 1971, he took the company public, raising the capital needed to fuel its next phase of growth. This gave Waste Management the financial power to continue its acquisition spree, but now on a global scale. Huizenga expanded Waste Management's footprint beyond the U.S. into international markets, acquiring companies across Europe, Canada, and Latin America. This global expansion solidified the company's dominance and made it the largest waste management provider in the world. As waste management grew, so did public awareness of environmental issues. In the 1980s, new regulations emerged around waste disposal, recycling, and environmental responsibility. Huizenga saw this as an opportunity rather than a setback. He turned waste management into a leader in environmental compliance, investing in state-of-the-art landfill technologies, recycling plants, and hazardous waste disposal solutions. This pivot not only kept waste management in line with new regulations, but also gave the company a competitive advantage, as municipalities and businesses preferred working with a company that was ahead of the curve on environmental issues. By 1984, waste management had over $1 billion in annual revenue and was a dominant force in the global waste industry. After building the company into a global powerhouse, Huizenga eventually stepped away from waste management to pursue new ventures. His ability to recognize opportunities in an overlooked industry, his aggressive acquisition strategy, and his focus on operational efficiency allowed him to turn a fragmented, low-margin industry into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. But Wayne wasn't done. In 1987, after stepping down from waste management, he took his eye for business to a completely different industry, entertainment. He bought a small video rental chain called Blockbuster. At the time, the video rental market was scattered, much like the waste industry had been. Blockbuster was a relatively unknown chain with about 20 stores, but Wayne saw potential to scale it nationwide. Wayne Huizenga wasn't the founder of Blockbuster. He came in when the company had just a few locations. The concept of video rental was already taking off, but it was fragmented, with small mom-and-pop shops dominating the landscape. Huizenga saw something different. He recognized that with the right management and aggressive expansion, Blockbuster could become a household name. In 1987, Huizenga and his partners bought a significant stake in the company, and from that moment, his vision was clear: scale fast and dominate the market. The first key to Huizenga's success with Blockbuster was his aggressive expansion strategy. He didn't just want a few stores in a handful of cities. He wanted to go national. His approach was to grow through a combination of corporate-owned stores and franchise agreements. This allowed Blockbuster to spread quickly without having to invest all its own capital. Within a few years, Blockbuster grew from a dozen locations to hundreds, and eventually, thousands of stores around the world. At its peak, Blockbuster was opening a store every 17 hours. Huizenga's goal was simple: be everywhere. Huizenga didn't just focus on rapid growth. He wanted Blockbuster to stand out. Back in the 80s, video rental stores were small and often disorganized. Huizenga turned Blockbuster into a retail powerhouse by introducing large, clean, well-lit stores with a huge inventory. Blockbuster offered thousands of titles, something small competitors couldn't match. In addition to a massive selection, Huizenga introduced better organization, creating sections for new releases, genres, and even family-friendly areas. This made the browsing experience more enjoyable, and it kept customers coming back. The stores were also open late, accommodating people's schedules and making Blockbuster a convenient choice for movie lovers. Another move that fueled Blockbuster's rise was Huizenga's focus on marketing and strategic partnerships. He invested heavily in advertising, positioning Blockbuster as a leader in home entertainment. This included nationwide campaigns, partnerships with film studios, and promotions with fast food chains and soda companies, which further cemented Blockbuster's brand in the minds of consumers. Blockbuster's iconic slogan, "Make it a Blockbuster night," became synonymous with the movie-watching experience, and Huizenga leveraged this brand identity to make Blockbuster a trusted name in entertainment. Wayne Huizenga wasn't afraid to innovate. Under his leadership, Blockbuster diversified its offerings beyond just video rentals. He introduced video game rentals, making Blockbuster a destination for gamers as well. By anticipating shifts in consumer preferences, he ensured Blockbuster stayed relevant to a wide audience. Huizenga also kept an eye on emerging technologies. Blockbuster started experimenting with new formats, like DVDs, as they came on the scene, making the transition from VHS seamless for customers. Though Blockbuster didn't fully capitalize on digital streaming technology later on, during Huizenga's time, they were at the forefront of home entertainment. Huizenga's business intelligence allowed him to grow Blockbuster into a behemoth in just a few short years. By 1994, Blockbuster was the undisputed leader in the video rental industry, with over 3,600 stores worldwide and billions in revenue. That same year, Huizenga sold Blockbuster to Viacom for $8.4 billion. After Blockbuster, Wayne continued to diversify his empire. In 1996, he founded AutoNation, a chain of car dealerships that became the largest automotive retailer in the U.S. His strategy? You guessed it, consolidation and standardization. Much like the waste management and video rental markets, the car retail market was still dominated by small independent dealerships. There was no major player that consolidated the market on a national scale. Huizenga realized this was an untapped opportunity. Huizenga's genius lay in scaling through acquisitions, as he did with both Waste Management and Blockbuster. Rather than build new dealerships from scratch, he went on a buying spree, acquiring existing dealerships across the country. His strategy was to buy in bulk and scale quickly, which allowed AutoNation to grow rapidly. By 1997, AutoNation owned over 100 dealerships, and just 2 years later, it became the first company in the industry to sell over 400,000 vehicles in a year. Once AutoNation acquired multiple dealerships, Huizenga introduced centralized management practices that streamlined operations across all the dealerships. This created efficiencies in areas like inventory management, marketing, and financing. By standardizing processes, he was able to reduce costs and increase profit margins, something that individual dealerships had struggled to achieve. One of Huizenga's key innovations at AutoNation was his focus on improving the customer experience. He recognized that buying a car was often stressful and confusing for consumers. To address this, AutoNation introduced transparent pricing, a no-haggle sales process, and a wider selection of vehicles in one place. By making the process more convenient and customer-friendly, Huizenga set AutoNation apart from the competition. Finally, Huizenga understood the power of branding. He invested heavily in marketing to build AutoNation into a household name. By creating a recognizable, trusted brand, AutoNation gained a competitive advantage that smaller dealerships couldn't match. This helped him expand the business even further, both in terms of market share and revenue. Wayne Huizenga's approach to scaling AutoNation was a masterclass in consolidation, efficiency, and brand building. Through strategic acquisitions and innovative business practices, he turned a fragmented industry into a scalable and profitable enterprise. But Wayne wasn't just focused on business. He also loved sports. In 1993, he brought both baseball and hockey to South Florida, being both the original owner of both the Florida Marlins and Florida Panthers. Under his ownership, the Marlins were able to win the World Series a mere 4 years later in 1997. He also owned the Miami Dolphins during this time, making him the first person in history to own teams in 3 different professional sports leagues. He was never shy about diving into new industries. Whether it was cars, entertainment, or sports, Wayne applied the same business strategy. Identify opportunity, scale aggressively, and dominate the market. So, what can we learn from Wayne Huizenga's journey? Here are 3 key takeaways. Find opportunity in unlikely places. Wayne started with garbage, something most people wouldn't even think twice about. But he saw the potential in an industry that was fragmented and inefficient. Don't overlook industries that seem mundane. Often, that's where the real opportunity lies. Scale through acquisitions. One of Wayne's biggest strengths was his ability to grow through acquisitions. He didn't just build companies, he bought them, merged them, and created efficiency at scale. If you're looking to grow a business quickly, acquisitions might be a key strategy. Diversify when the time is right. Wayne didn't stick to one industry. After making it big in waste management, he moved into entertainment, automotive retail, and even sports. He wasn't afraid to take risks in new industries, but he always applied his core business principles. Using these strategies, Wayne Huizenga didn't just build businesses, he built industries. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video entertaining, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more inspiring business stories. See you in the next video.